Good afternoon or good evening and welcome to Sustainability Roundtable series on Global TV. Our Sustainability Roundtable is a global platform where we share issues, discuss issues of global importance, and we say things the way it is, and we find practical solutions to issues that bother us. And so, it's a Nigerian Global Village Square, a dynamic multi-stakeholder platform driving national development and accelerating the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal, not just in Nigeria, but across Africa. This series convenes leaders, institutions, communities, women, and youth in an inclusive and action-oriented space where ideas meet practice through open dialogue, shared learning, and collaborative problem solving. The Sustainability Roundtable transforms conversation into practical solution that addresses urgent social, economic, and environmental challenges. It is more than a forum, or it's more than a TV program. It is a movement for collective action, innovation, and measurable impact toward a sustainable future for all. I thank you once again. My name is Eric Adile, your host for today. Joining me today in this conversation, and our topic for today's conversation is harnessing the power of public relation. The power of public relation for national development and advancing SDG impact, which connect directly with Nigerian reform pathway under the Renew Hope agenda, which is positioning communication, trust, and citizen engagement as a critical driver of sustainable progress. I have with me to discuss this issue today a practical public relation practitioner and a mentor, somebody that I've always looked up to in the practice, Dr. Peter Oyenenye.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. And good afternoon, viewers.
Good afternoon. I have also with me.
My name is Justice. You hear me? Of course, I am the co-host.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The proposed theme is timely to us and is strategically relevant in today's information-driven development landscape. Public relations has evolved beyond media visibility to become a powerful instrument for shaping public trust, influencing behavior, mobilizing stakeholder, and driving policy support. Critical element required to accelerate national development and SDG. We cannot live away from that. That is what public relations has become. Nigerian development challenges are increasingly linked not only to policy gap, but also to communication deficit, stakeholder misalignment, low public awareness, and weak citizens' ownership of development programs. Effective PR provide a bridge between government intention, private sector contribution, and citizens' participation. And so by harnessing PR power, public relation power, institutions can translate complex reform into relatable public narrative that inspire confidence, accountability, and collective action. The team also aligned with the growing demand for institutional transparency, sustainability reporting, and impact storytelling. Strategic PR enables organizations to showcase measurable SDG contribution, strengthens reputation capital, attract partnership, and reinforce public legitimacy. In an era of misinformation and digital disruption, professional public relations practice is essential for managing national narrative and sustaining public engagement at scale. Properly deployed, PR becomes a development multiplier. Our distinguished guest today, Dr. Peter Oyenenye, is a veteran public relations practitioner, author, and educator based in Abuja. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and currently serves as chief executive of the Advanced Management Academy, AMA, with a decade of experience in strategic communication, reputation management, and institutional capacity building. He brings deep insight into how PR can power national development outcome. Welcome again, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you know, it has become obvious, like what we are seeing, that a major challenge of our time, a major issue that has bordered, that has even impaired development today, is communication, policy communication, and the storytelling, ability to communicate your policy, ability to advocate your policy for people to even understand. We have an adage in my place that understanding is mathematics. You understand me?
Sure.
Because you have to first understand something before you now attempt solution. Sir, can you just give us an overview of what do you think? You understand me? How PRO can strategically translate, especially, you know, let's narrow it down to currently we have in this platform, we are focused on finding solution to issue. We don't care who is made the policy, but so far as the policy affects all of us, so we see collective action through this platform. And now the Renew Hope agenda, everybody is talking about it, and is a policy driver that is meant to drive the global sustainable development goal in Nigeria implementation for as long as the proponent of the agenda is on the empower. Now, how can strategic public relations translate the Renew Hope agenda into a message that resonates with every Nigeria at the grassroots?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, I want to say hello to our viewers out there. Now, it's quite interesting what we're doing here, talking about sustainability, talking about the different areas of the SDGs, okay? Because number one, any country that will go anywhere must embrace the SDGs. And if you look at it, it talks about everything. So I also look at it as a strategic plan for the world. Then the world has a strategic plan. Then pick it and see where you need it in your own country. You understand? But now, this thing may not go far. We may not achieve much if we don't communicate. I know communication is not just tell the people what your government is doing. But communication is listen to the people, tell your government this is where the shoe pinches them. Then government goes back to fix that area. And you now go back to tell the people this has been fixed. So it must be a two-way communication. But the challenge we have is that in most cases, we do one-way communication. Government just thinks about what it wants to do, and it begins to do it. Many years ago, I went to speak at a program in Benue State. There were local government chairmen, admin, director of admin, and the rest of them. And somebody raised his hand and said, in our local government now, they are erecting electricity poles as I speak. But I don't want it. So why would you not want electricity? That's about development and the rest of them. The guy said, no. What we need is for them to grade the road. So when they bring electricity, they will say we should pay. Where would we get the money? Say, because the road is so terrible that when you have produced, when you have invested, your produce will rot there. Because to take it out to sell, there's a problem. Yeah. So you can see government thought it was doing a good thing, even for its people. Okay, we are bringing electricity. But you did not ask these people, what do you need? What do you want? If you did, then you know that road is better than electricity. To them, maybe another community, electricity may be better than roads. So, if the SDGs will work, if we are going to enjoy the benefit, we must take communication as first. Communication starts with government communication apparatus, okay, trying to find out. Ministry of Information and Orientation, Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the National Orientation Agency, NIPR, Federal Ministry of Radio Corporation of Nigeria, NTA, Voice of Nigeria, all of our communication agencies, they must be all out there and be asking people, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And they pass it on to the government. And government should develop what it wants to do based on what the people want. But in a situation where you just sleep, you just wake up, and you just say, let's give them rice. One of the things I don't like to hear at all is giving people food. What we need is the conducive environment
to produce
that will allow me to produce. For how long will you give me rice? You can't keep me for, you can't even give somebody rice for 1 year. It's not possible. So what do? Let there be security that can go to his farm, okay, and get that thing. I was telling my colleague about something I read yesterday and I felt so bad about it. Somebody was kidnapped on a farm. He is the farm manager. There were 2 on the farm on that day. They killed one of them and they took him away. And the bargaining started and finally they landed at 17 million. The family raised that money, paid it. After collecting the money, they did not release the guy. Maybe they thought, the way they brought this money fast, it's like they should have more. They now call them and say, we give you 24 hours to bring another 55 million naira. You can imagine. So, if that guy comes out from that place, will he ever step into any farm again? No. So, what we want is that let's government listen to us. What are your challenges? Then government should address them. But you cannot know our challenges without public relations, without communication strategy, because it's two-way. You listen to us, then you do stuff for us. And I tell you, to win an election will be easy if it is done that way. But if you have not listened and you are doing your own thing, that is when election will be difficult. That is when the politicians will want to rage so that they can come in. The renewed hope agenda, okay, it's a wonderful thing. But are we listening to the people? Are we carrying the people along? I know government is trying in some areas, but there are many areas where government is not trying enough. And government can try if it listens to the people.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. This brings us to the next question. Of course, not far from what you are saying.
Yeah.
The next question, of course, talks about the communication gap,
Okay.
in government and policies. And when we look at the SDG, of course, like the Goal 3, that talks about good health.
Yeah.
And of course, we go to Goal 5, that talks about gender equality.
Yeah.
Now, these are the critical areas that we need, to look out for. So I want us to look at it. What is that communication gap, that is really making governments not to, communicate effectively as it comes or relates to SDG delivery?
Okay. One of them is employment of non-professional communication persons. We can't even call them communication professionals because they are not even practitioners, they are communication, they just say they are communication persons. You must employ the person who has been schooled, who has been trained in the art and social science of communication. There's a way to communicate. I like sharing stories.
Yes.
Some years back, I wasn't director of PR yet. I was PRO of my school, okay, Plateau School of Accountancy and Management Studies in Jos. And we're looking up to National Board for Technical Education for accreditation of our programs. But before we got that, we got the accreditation of the Federal Ministry of Education on our distance learning programs. So, I don't know how the news got out. So, the television station in that city, Plateau Radio Television Corporation, came to my school to interview us about that. And I was not around. So, they met a director and they asked, they wanted to see the PRO. He said, they said he's not in. He asked them, said, but what is the issue? They now told him. that we learned that you just got your accreditation, so that's why. The media then, they didn't understand the difference between the accreditation of distance learning program by Federal Ministry of Education and that of the National Board for Technical Education. They took it as one, they didn't know the meaning. So they now asked him, say that, he said, oh yes, we thank God we have gotten it. That was great. Then I say, we are going to University of Jos on our way back. Maybe Peter will be back. No phone there like this, okay? So finally they came back and I was in the office. But before they came back, he had called me when I returned to school. And I said, this and this happened. So if they should come, just tell them. This is what I told them. I said, no, but sir, what we got is not the accreditation of the National Board for Technical Education. What we got is that of distance learning for. He said, don't say that. Just tell them we have gotten it. I said, but he said, no, are you? I wasn't a director. He was the director. He said, go to your office. That's it. I said, okay, sir. I go to my office. How would I manage this situation? The director was not around. Maybe I would have gone to him and say, sir, look at this issue. But this is a director, a very influential director. So I stood there. I was in my office. Then he came. And I decided to go professional. I decided to be ethical. And I told them, I said, yes, we have gotten this accreditation. So when they noticed that I didn't mention National Board, then I said, what about? I said, no, that is another one. We are still expecting that we are working on it. Okay? But the fact that we have gotten this means we will be able to also
get down.
They left. And as he saw that they were driving out, he called me on the intercom. Said, Peter, please come. And I went to his place. Said, so what did they ask? I told him. He said, what did you tell them? I told him what I told them. He got furious with me. I left him. I went back to my office. The next thing, my intercom rang again. It was the rector. He said I should come to his office. I went there. He had reported me to the rector. Rector asked me, what happened? And I told him. Rector said, you are the PR professional, not him. Because rector knew the implication of lying, of giving information, wrong information to those people. If I was not trained, I would have boggled it in. I would just say it's the same thing. They will go and use it. The National Board for Technical Education will hear about it, and it will be a serious problem for my school. Yeah. So that is what is happening now. A lot of people have been employed, and they do not know their right from their left. They are not PR professionals. But government that even has the law, there is a law that says a non-PR professional, a non-member should not be employed. A non-member of NIPR should not be employed as a public relations person. But government employs them. So you cannot say, so that's why you're going to have problem. Yeah. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, so I think the government should even stand as a model that any government spokesperson you meet, is trained, is a PR person, is a member of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. But we have a lot of people. In fact, some people, the moment they get into government, they just carry their brother from the village or from anywhere. They say he's a spokesperson. It's not done that way. We won't go far. See, communication is so strategic that if you don't fix it well, it will spoil everything. Is it marriage? Communication, if you are not communicating, it will spoil it. Is it health? Okay? Healthcare. Yeah. Communication will spoil it. Of course. You understand? Because the facilities may be there. The package may be there. But do they know about it? Do they know where it is? They don't know. Yes. How would they know? Communication. Now, go and check now. Here in Abuja, we have, they call it, district hospitals. Yes. You have Maitama, Wuse, Asokoro, and the rest of them. Now, are there medical practitioners there? A lot of nurses, a lot of doctors. Admit people, accountants, and what have you. Do they have PR people? No.
I once was passing a health facility.
Yeah.
I saw boldly written on a signboard, vacancy for a PR officer.
Okay.
I walked in.
Okay.
I told the person I want to be engaged. I'm a PRO officer. When I asked for my resume, and I gave it to him. He said, "No, we don't need you. We just need somebody that is going to run errand, do some much." And that brings us to a very important question.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sometimes we are emphasizing on this professionalism. Yeah. Professional. Who is a public relation professional?
Okay.
Yes, I mean, because I have tried to engage the two sides of the coins, and then I was trying to the emphasis is the PR spokesperson, the PRO done this thing, and that. Now I was not trying to say. To me, I try to place a distinction between the PRO practitioner and the PR professional. Yes, I mean, there are two ways of I look at it. Now, can you throw a light, Yosami, as a senior colleague, on the aspect of the PR professional and the PR practitioner?
Okay.
Because I have seen people that doesn't hold the certification doing so well as a practitioner over years, and have seen people that call themselves the professional doing so poorly, Yosami, over time. How do we distinguish this? And so that we could move ahead? Because you know why I'm saying this thing? When I look at the Millennium Development Goal, I always tell people boldly that why that development goal fell was because communication was not particularly given attention. Engagement, partnership was not particularly given attention. And so when in 2015, when they released the current development plan, the SDG that we are working on, I look at the 17 goal. I wrote a paper that I call a new role. Yosami, the 17 goal, SDG 17 goal, a new role for public relation practitioners. I remember publishing this in the PRO Digest in Abuja here. I don't think many people paid attention to it, because I saw a new role for public development that in this development era and what we are doing now, that without public relation, without relation, because you can that role this thing is the 17th goal. He said building global partnership for implementation of the goals. What are the goals? The 16 earlier goals.
And you build partnership relationship. PR.
Everybody is talking about stakeholder engagement. That's relationship.
That is PR.
And so, sir, please, how do we differentiate so that out there we could be, we could be able to know who is the PR practitioner?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now, before the 1st of June 1990, a PR man, a PR whatever, is anybody who wanted to be. In fact, you only needed to raise your hand, then you are a PR person. That was before the 1st of June 1990. Because on the 1st of June 1990, something happened. The military administration under President Ibrahim Babangida promulgated a decree, which is now an act of parliament, and says that if you are not a member of NIPR, you cannot be employed as a public relations person. It goes further to say you cannot even use any term that relates to PR. So it says spokesperson, corporate affairs, corporate services, and the rest of them. Anyone that relates to that thing that can be linked to it, you cannot use it. You cannot be employed as one. But if you are employed as one, the NIPR, through that decree, which is now the Act of Parliament, can prosecute you and your employer. And if you are found guilty, you can pay a fine, or you go to jail for 2 years, or the two. And it goes further to say that to be a member of NIPR, there are qualifications listed in that Act of Parliament. Okay, it talks about a first degree in mass comm, or HND in mass comm, NIPR diploma, Business Education Examination Council Public Relations diploma. There is Communication, Advertising and Marketing Foundation exam in UK. Then there is a British Charterist of Public Relations membership diploma. All of those things are what we need. The masters, it could be an MBA specializing in PR, could be PhD specializing in PR. Any one of these. When you have it, you can now apply to. In fact, having it is not enough. You now apply to NIPR to be a member. Because when you are not a member of NIPR, there is continuing training. You relate with others, you learn from others, you have mentors and what have you. So that prepares you to become a public relations professional. But now, if you don't fall into this, if you don't have this, you are not. You understand? You are not. And as I sit here in this our Abuja alone, we have over 40 Director of Public Relations, Director of Information and Public Relations that are not members of NIPR. So how can you be a Director of Public Relations for a federal government outfit and you are not a member of NIPR and you are living in Abuja?
Sir, that is where
it's a challenge.
Yes, sir. Sir, you see, that is where I was coming in.
Yeah.
Now, how do we harness or bridge the gap between practice and profession, so that we can harness You know, the focus here is harnessing the PRO power. The PRO power for national development. Now, how do we harness, you see me, bridge the gap between practice and profession? You see me? The professionals, are they up to their beats? You see me? Doing what they are supposed to do? How do we bridge this gap so that we could harness the power of PRO, especially in building public trust in governance, government reforms, and development? Because now what we are seeing is that we need to build this trust. To build this trust, how can we harness the power? You know, we bridge this gap. You know, when we look about most of those guys that we talk about, the directors of public relations that we are talking about, that you mentioned here, most of them are not doing badly in their agencies. They are not doing badly. Just because most of them, I didn't say all of them, most of them are not doing badly. They have practiced over the years and come to what they are doing, and they are doing it well. But now, how do we bridge this gap so that PRO, I'm not talking about NIPR here. I'm talking about PR as a profession. PR will harness its power. Power in building public trust, in building government, in transforming government reforms, and then development. Because the gap I saw in Nigerian development is lack of communication, policy advocacy. I have gone to the field to ask people about this Renew Hope agenda. And now when you bring the Renew Hope agenda, talking about it to people, you know what everybody wants to, because they don't like Tinubu, so they won't like the agenda that is running us for the next 5 years. And the Renew Hope agenda is supposed to be a key driver of the implementation of the SDG, as long as the man is at the leader of Nigeria. And we are the professionals that has a gap, a whole goal was set up for us, building global partnership for implementation of the goal. And we are still looking at what somebody is not doing and what somebody. That's what brings me. So how can we bridge this gap between the practice and the profession so that we'll be able to harness PRO power in building public trust, in governance, government reforms, and development?
Let me quickly say this. You cannot separate NIPR from this discussion. You know why? It's like the clearinghouse for public relations people in the country. And if you want PR people to move from a level to the other, NIPR must be involved. Is it training? Is it mentorship, partnership, and the rest of them? Now, talking about the practice and profession is just a matter of nomenclature. When you practice, you can practice as a professional. Some of my friends, I've also seen people say, I'm not a PR practitioner, I'm a PR professional. It does not matter. What matters is what you do. Am I communicating with this? What you do. Now, like those people we have mentioned about those who are not members of the institute and they are actually doing well because over the years they've been practicing, they've understood the act and social science of whatever. It's okay. What we are saying is that it's better if we are together, we work better. We'll learn from ourselves. We'll partner with ourselves. But what about this gap now? This is what to do about this gap. The government is very, very strategic and is lucky to have the Minister of Information and National Orientation who understands, who embraces what PR actually is. And in a long while, for a long while, we have not had this kind of minister. It's one of the ways to harmonize, to bridge the gap. Then the others is that now there may be people who are practicing and outside of the institute. It means they are not guided, there are no rules. There are no rules for them. They can do and undo, they can be unethical, and they can get away with it. But now if you are in the institute, it means you can be punished, you can be monitored, you can be disciplined. And you know that you are responsible to somebody. You are known. So bridging the gap means that let government be sure of who is working for the government as communication people. Do they have the required training? Do they know what they are doing? can they advise the government? Let me also tell you something. One of the reasons why we have this gap is that we have PR people who cannot knock the door of their CEO and enter. They can't. He's afraid of what he will go and say there. Am I communicating with you? And it's because he's not trained. So there will be gap. But now, when your CEO is going to have an interview, okay, and then you go to his office and say, sir, I learned the social person came here and he said yes. He said, we're going to have this interview or whatever. I say, sir, then you call that person and say, can I have the questionnaire? They'll give you. And I look at it. And you do a simulation with your boss. Are you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's because, but now if you are not qualified, can you go to your boss and say, sir, I learned you are going to give an interview? Can you tell your boss that, sir, before this interview, there should be a rehearsal? You can't do that. So if we employ people who do not know what they are doing, if you employ underdogs, okay, as PR people, there will be gaps. See, PR is a strategic leadership function. So the PR man must be up there, must be a member of management, must be there when decisions are being taken, must load them, must give them necessary information and say, sir, if we do this, it may be wrong. If you do this, students may be against us. If you do that, the market women may go haywire. Am I communicating with you? And your boss will listen.
Yeah.
And say, okay, then what do we do? Then you go out, conduct your research, whatever, and you come back and say, sir, look at it. That is now you have closed the gap. But now when your boss just say, PR, we are going to do this, call the media and say, okay, sir, you just call the media. Then that's no PR. That's no PR. That's errand boy.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Doc. He says something very profound, and that brings, to mind what we have as government PR and political PR.
Okay.
Because they are two separate things.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, when you talk about government PR,
Yeah.
you talk about institutions. They are institutionalized. Of course, the institutions that help transmit the message to the people.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the National Orientation Agency and other parastatals and all. These are the government PR.
Yeah.
They are supposed to be the ones sometimes communicating these policies.
Yeah,
right? They are the ones trained. Just when you talk about training, we are supposed to have experts, like you and my boss, who are supposed to be employed in this government institution. That we are supposed to have the real PR. Now I'm talking about the political PR.
Yeah.
Now these are the ones that we have. This is more functional than the government PR,
that's true.
who try to drive some of these
And they are
government
financed.
policies.
They have the money to
Thank
do it,
you.
yes.
These are the ones now trying to drive these government policies to sell it to the people, and is losing the citizens buy-in.
Sure. Yeah.
Citizens are not buying it because they are seeing it coming. Thank you. They are saying that it's now political PR, and because of that, trust is not there, because they are the one now telling you the renew hope and all that. We are supposed to come from the institutions where we are supposed to have the trained persons, expert like you. So this just bring us to the next question that I really want to bring up. What role can community storytellers and local people play in deepening the citizens' ownership? What role can these local people? Of course, we have people like you who can do better. This Renew Hope is not just as little as people see it, that people are trying to conceptualize it as a social thing. It's big and it's very, very important. So what role can local and storytellers play to make sure that the citizens' ownership
just before
is
I go
taken?
into that, let me say this. Now, we may not be in government.
Yeah.
Okay. For instance, I may not be in government and be director of PR somewhere, but we can run programs for them. We can be consultant to them, and we are doing some work for some people. Yes. Okay, that's it. But now, what I want to bring out is that government must, in the first place, understand the place of communication, of partnership, of PR in the SDGs. Before you can even think of using it. So number one, we should ask, does the government understand the place of communication? Okay. The government may not have understood it enough. Okay. You understand? So if they do not understand it, they will find you don't look for what you don't know that you don't have now. It's when you know that you don't have something you are looking for it.
Exactly.
But when you don't even know that you don't have it, it can be around you, you won't even recognize it.
Yes.
So the first place is that when you talk about community storytellers, do you know there are people who can pick and train? They are not PR practitioners. But they can be trained and say, this is what the government is doing about this tax reform.
Policy, exactly.
They will understand it.
They want to
when they go to drink in the evening, when they go to the barbers, when they go to the mechanics, and discussion starts there, they are empowered with communication.
Yes.
They can say the narrative that is right.
That is right.
Not that supports government or no, but that is right. That is one.
Yes.
But so this must be, and we pick them, and they are trained, because you're not going to have PR people in mechanics place, workshop, in the barbers and what have you.
Yes.
But you are going to have people who are community storytellers, who are, we used to call them, some of these people who travel from village to village doing their own stuff. Okay, so do they have information about what the government is doing about education? Okay.
Yes.
The school feeding, giving uniform.
Yeah.
What's it called? You have the training of teachers.
Yes.
Because if you also notice, private schools do more training. They do more training than government schools. Like when I was in school, and when many of you were in school, did you ever have a time where they said your teachers went for training? The government doesn't train teachers largely. But now, the Universal Basic Education Commission and some states, they are starting to suburbs rather. They are trying to do some of these things now. Yes. You understand? We can close gap through that. Do you know teachers are great community storytellers?
And
great
influencers.
Yes. Okay, so they can be trained to be educated about this is what government is doing about health. Okay, this is what government is doing about education. This is what government is doing about energy renewal. Yes. Am I communicating with you? This is what government is doing about agriculture. So when they talk in their classrooms, they are using that in as examples. We carry these children along. The children go back home and they are telling their parents, so they know the thing.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that we can do to sell the Renew Hope agenda. We can do to sell the SDGs. Let me tell you something. Yes. Government alone is not going to give us a great Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay? The government has its role. We citizens, we have our role.
Yeah. Yes.
But you know the challenge. The citizens are followers. They are not usually strategic. Yes. They are not usually together. Yeah. Okay? So it is government that will make them strategic. Government will begin to employ their services as its own ambassadors. Yes. Explain what the government is doing in the different areas. In fact, there are some areas that government is even handicapped, will not be able to do stuff. We will explain to them. And when people are talking, they will also explain that government has not come to this area because of this, because of that. But what you are doing now, you must explain it. Let me just add one to it before maybe you also may ask me another question. I remember a long time ago, during the regime of our late president, Muhammadu Buhari. Okay. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, you know, he wrote some letters. There were letters he was writing there. Then in one of those letters, in one of the periods when he wrote a letter, he said the government was not doing well, and this and that and this and that. And they were furious with him. They started calling him names. Then, after about 2 weeks, the Ministry of Information then, under Lai Mohammed, okay, came out with a long list of what they call the achievement of that government. But I said, why did you wait? You understand? That is the gap we are talking about. Yes. Why did you wait until former President Obasanjo, why did you wait until he wrote something, until he said something, before explaining your stuff? It's because their PR was not organized, was not planned. It was reactive. When you say this, they will now know, they will go and meet. What do we say to them? No, it shouldn't be that way. You should lead the narratives. Yes. We are doing this with all the people. We are doing that with all the people. And like I said at the beginning, then you will also let the people talk. What do you want? How do you want it? For instance, you may be given a lot of scholarship in one aspect of education. And that is not the area where the people want it. But now if you know that it's because you want to encourage people to look that way, you also explain. You get scholarship in this area because we have limited manpower challenge. We have manpower challenge in this area. So we are putting money there so that we can put our youth there. So we must explain stuff to people. An explanation will solve a lot of problems.
I think that brings us to the understanding the era.
Okay.
Yosemite, especially not just for for everybody, especially for the PR. You know, when we are talking about deepening citizens' ownership, and is a very critical now in whatever we do. That if we are not able to drive citizen ownership to government policies, to development, we find out that we keep talking about underdevelopment. We keep talking about lack of development. Even the one that you have put in place, when people don't take ownership of it, it rots down. And so we are particular about that. And like what we're talking about in the community storytellers, and influencer, local influencers. So it just boils down to the era we are, the era of engagement. We live in a very interesting era. Now, you see what is happening in Iran is already impacting the whole world. Yes, because engaging. That's the era we are. And this is one era that as PR practitioners, for us to regain our power, for national development, we'll be trying to be more engaging. Now, government itself is not engaging. Now, the PR people, we are not engaging. And so this is the way it brought us to this point, that we have to be very, very, to strengthen this power at all costs. We must be understand this engaging, because engaging, this era of engaging is an era in PR that has come to like no other era. It's an era when people want to take your own story and tell it the way they like it. So when you mention the issue of the reactive effort of the government to tell us what they are doing, which has been the norm. Now, we supposed to come to a point that it must be proactive. And to be proactive is still telling your story. Like what you said. Tell your story by yourself. Sometimes if I'm having an engagement now, I write this news by myself. I take time to write the news and give them. Yes, that's how it is. Because if you don't tell your story, they will leave the gap. They will tell it in the way it will suit them. Everybody wants to tell your story the way it suits him, not the way it suits you.
Yes.
That's just the era, the engagement era. They want to tell your story the way it suits them. So that your story becomes their own. They benefit from your story. And so for you now to be engaging to tell your story, you must tell your story, and your story must have this element. It must be original, it must be genuine, it must be timely, and it must be more ethical, what you are talking about, and so you have to tell your story. And so it is very, very important that we understand that and we put it in place, especially in practice. PR it has so much enormous power that if harnessed in Nigeria, that as a driver of this development, like the global community has also understood and gave us a particular role. So, okay, this role belongs to you. Drive this role, do this role, and it will go. And now that leads us to something, the issue of sustainability, which has always been our this thing. In what ways can corporate sustainability reporting strengthen national development messages? Recently, what have been negated in Nigeria is the coming plane to tell us genuinely this is where we are. In this area we are having issue. Everything we see is lies upon lies in corporate sustainability. This thing, even an agency that is down, that have finished, and they are still telling you things are working in Nigeria because of this. How do we strengthen this? Because it's a great function of the public relations, strengthening corporate sustainability reporting, so that we can strengthen national development. Messaging.
Okay, thank you very much. This is also a time, I just want to add to it before I go straight to answering that question. This is also a time in the history of our country where public relations is doing much more better than it had ever done. For instance, this year alone, we're going to have a lot of programs. We have the African Public Relations Association, okay, coming to Abuja. We have the World Public Relations Forum also taking place, okay, in Abuja. Then we have our National Public Relations Week, okay, and a lot of training and so many programs are going on at this time. That's a credit to the leadership of NIPR. Now, talking about corporate sustainability so that we can help our country and the rest of them, then it means there should be a synergy between public relations people and the management. That's the management that employs PR. Okay? Now, one area is that there is a need for serious training for corporate leaders. And when I talk of corporate leaders, I'm not talking of this director of PR, that director of PR. No. I'm talking of the CEOs. Because they are the employers of public relations people. And until they understand it, okay, they won't know how to use it well. Okay? And if the PR man may not be able to even convince him. Okay? Because, you know, many of the CEOs, they are up high there. And the PRO may not even be a director, may just be one PRO, whatever. So if you want corporate affairs, whatever we are doing, every corporate operation to be sustained, if you want our country to run well, if you want you want government outfit to run well and the rest of them, for years, you start bringing in public relations at the planning stage. For instance, if you are going to do something from January to December, in the first quarter, what will be the role of public relations? Then the reporting to say, okay, this is what we have done, this is what we have done. In fact, we can set a goal to achieve 75% of this by this. If we do not achieve 75, if it is 50 we have achieved, we have not failed. Yeah. But we must report and say, so the 25% remaining, this is what we are going to do about it. But now the challenge we have is that even when we have not achieved 25 out of 75, we're going to say, everything is done. There was a government, we don't need to mention it again. Towards the election one time, they were campaigning, and they said that from Abuja to Lokoja, that's a list of the things they did. Say Abuja to Lokoja roads. I started wondering. Because then I was always traveling. Okay, to Lokoja, come back to go and do a training somewhere and come back. This is not this. In fact, from Abuja to Abaji was not fixed then. How can you not say from Abuja to Lokoja? So that is the kind of thing that kills trust. And any government that is not trusted will not go anywhere. Even sometimes when it does right, people will still not believe it. I know this thing is about first impression. Yes. Okay, first impression. So the moment the people cancel you in their heart, anything you are just doing, you are just speaking grammar. Yes. So for any sustainable, when we're talking about sustainability, okay, you are looking at, can we have a situation that whether it is President Tinubu that is there, or another person comes, our programs are running well. Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay. Not that somebody comes and says, oh, let's look at education. Somebody comes and says, no, education don't be 6334. It should be 712. Another person says it should be 419. Another person says, no. It's not that way. We should sustain it. There's a place we are taking this thing to. Yeah. And everybody, every hand must be on deck. Yeah. Okay. And another thing I see is that many governments, I'm not just talking about federal government alone. Okay. Federal government, state government, and local government. Many governments are not engaging their people. There's a disconnect. Yeah. Government is on its own. The people are on their own.
Okay, Doc, there's something I want to quickly chip in. This brings me to the issue of Rwanda. Yeah. If you remember 1994, right, what happened after the genocide? You know, Rwanda was tagged with violence and everything after 1994. But during the time of Paul Kagame, something really happened. He positioned Rwanda as the African cleanest, one of the safest, innovation and all that. Yeah. And they also went into international partnership, where you see they went into sponsoring Arsenal, visit Rwanda, right? You saw that with also PSG Saint-Germain. So these are the things that we need to be very intentional about. Talking about PR, it's a serious business. Now, outside the globe or globally, people see Rwanda as one of the best places to be, tourism-wise and everything. So these these are the things we are looking at. Expert like you, how can Renew Hope, be projected? Let it be said to the people. Let the people understand the concept. Let it not just be vague, as people will perceive it to be. So these are the places that we need people like to come in. How can this thing be said to the people properly?
Okay, let me say this. Last year I traveled to Rwanda 4 times.
Amazing.
Okay, and every time. You just be looking, your neck will be paining you. It's a small country.
You see that?
They don't even have the luxury of this express big roads that we have. It's face me and face you most of the time. But everything is orderly. Several crossings.
And somebody worked on it, and somebody pioneered.
Yes, it's
and it was communicated to the people, and their behavior changed.
Yes. See, from the airport, you notice that there's something. The airport is not big. It's just like some of these are local airports. But when you get there, you see everything is orderly. Am I communicating with you? You are coming right as you are getting into the line, to be checked in, Yes. Your phone automatically, because I'd gone the first time, whatever. So the thing is already on my phone.
It's one of the most African countries.
Free.
Kigali.
Okay?
Yeah.
Pen, you are receiving messages. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. In Nigeria, go to any airport. If you land in Lagos or here, there's no network for you until you buy a SIM or whatever. Am I communicating with you?
Dog.
But that place, everything works, and like he said, it's one man.
Yes.
See, security is so. They don't even steal your things. Am I communicating with you? Okay.
Projection.
Everything. I said several crossings. You see, people. You just put your leg like this. Cars will stop. Electricity. Okay, I share a story of something that happened when we went. 2 of our participants, they went to a nightclub. We didn't even know. It was the following day in the class we knew what happened. They said, this country is on mine. I said, what happened? They went when they went out about 9, so they're coming back 12. Say, 12 o'clock as we were about leaving the nightclub, okay? A friend of theirs, a Nigerian, was the one who took them there. So as 3 of them came out, so the guy just said, hold on, let me get the driver. They were wondering, this guy brought us here. He drove his own car. What's the meaning of let me get the driver? But before they could ask him, he had already walked away. In less than 2-3 minutes, he was coming back with somebody. So they called him aside and said, why did you? He said, because we have taken some drink. I cannot drive. You don't drive in this country when you have. Do you see that your beer or whatever? If you open it, if you pour beer into that cork, that cover, if you put it in your mouth, you cannot drive.
Thank you very much, sir.
And that's what will happen. They say it's 3 months imprisonment. 3 months.
3 months imprisonment.
No option of fine.
Thank you very much, sir. As we reflect on today's rich conversations and one message stand out clearly. Public relation is no longer a support function.
At all.
It is an implementation infrastructure. We have what we have learned today is simple but powerful. Development move at the speed of trust, and trust moved at the speed of communication.
Yes.
Therefore, for Nigeria to accelerate the SDG delivery and fully realize the Renew Hope vision, institutions must deliberately embed professional PRO into policy design, program rollout, and stakeholder engagement and impact reporting must be key. When PRO is treated as an infrastructure, not an afterthought, we move from announcement to ownership, from awareness to action, and from policy promises to real change in the life of the people. Development succeeds when communication builds trust, when communication builds ownership and a measurable action. PRO is not a publicity, it is a development infrastructure. Renew Hope agenda succeeds. Success depends on citizen connection. Sustainability Roundtable is an advocacy platform for impact. As we draw the curtain on today's Sustainability Roundtable series on Global TV, we reaffirm our collective commitment to building a sustainable Nigeria where ideas translate into action and collaboration delivers measurable impact. This platform remains a national advocacy voice, advancing sustainable development goals and accelerating the implementation of the Renew Hope agenda. We sincerely appreciate your time, your trust,
You're welcome.
and your continuous engagement. Stay informed, stay inspired, and remain an active part of this growing movement for sustainable progress. Join us every Tuesdays and Thursdays at the same time as we continue to shape practical solutions for sustainable development together. Until remain, then remember your voice matters. Your participation counts, and the future we seek depend on all of us. Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you very much, Justin, for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bless you.
Bye.
See you again. Bye.